Hi guys, this is Brian from Cause Events and welcome to Coach's Corner. Today in Coach's Corner we're coming from a very, very rainy day in Anaheim, California, and I hope to bring you something that's really the fourth aspect of multi-sport, even for marathons, but for triathlon too, of course, is rest and recovery. What exactly do we mean by rest and recovery? Well, rest and recovery are a little different. They go hand in glove. You cannot have one without the other, but you can try to do one without the other, and you're not going to be utterly successful because you need these both these aspects. And again, they overlap. And so what we're going to do is get right down to the nuts and bolts of it. No one size fits all answer. There's no set formula for you. This is where you talk to your coach. You sit down and strategize a plan. How do you get the best out of yourself with the amount of recovery you need? Okay. Each person's needs are going to vary. Obviously, your age is going to be a limiting factor for the amount of time you need to rest and recover. Your health, your metabolism, and your active lifestyle. Okay, so all those things play into the rest and recovery. This is not going to cover every single aspect. I try to keep these videos short, try to hit on the main points. But what you can do is like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have more in-depth questions and concerns and you want to have more on this subject or any other subject. Okay, back to it. What are the types of rest and recovery and what is the difference? Okay, rest is physical and mental rest. Recovery is those places in between things where you're allowing your body to recover, like the time between sets when you're lifting, the time in between intervals when you're running intervals. But recovery has short-term and long-term aspects for both things, as well as rest does. Recovery helps you with those latent and acute fatigues. Okay, so your short-term is going to really focus on the acute. The things that are really sore, the things that are slowing you down. You notice that after a very hard day in the gym doing legs or out doing intervals, the next day or two you can't really run very fast. You can't cycle fast. You maybe not be able to swim fast if you did arms in the gym. Those things are going to be a recovery type of thing. You can still actively train, but you're not going to be able to train at as high of a level. The short term addresses the acute fatigue and what occurs after those more intense sessions. So we're going to want to scale back a little bit after the intense sessions, allow our body to recover from those, and so build up after that. And you talk about the lactic threshold. Well, when you do the hard, intense work, you actually do a little bit of damage to your muscles so they can rebuild, and that's why you feel a lot of pain very often. That produces lactic acid, and that's actually measurable in your blood. So what can you do for short-term recovery? You can walk off that big run. So after you have a long running session, take 15-20 minutes and go and walk it off. That allows the lactic acid to help clear out of the muscles. It allows all the toxins to be removed from the muscles and be filtered by the kidneys and the liver. Yoga or stretching session. This goes a long way to helping with that fatigue because it does exercise it, and I'm not talking about hot yoga or really intense yoga sessions. I'm talking the easy stretching type of yoga. An easy swim. And I'm not talking about going out and, knocking out an extra 500 meters. I'm talking about going and playing in the pool with your kids or just swimming around a little bit and enjoying the water instead of trying to get a training session in. Okay, and then maybe an easy cycling session, which could be exemplified by going down to the beach with your beach cruiser or whatever bike and just slowly riding on the boardwalk where you're not allowed to go over a certain speed. I think our boardwalk here says 8 miles an hour. So We're talking easy motions, not hard, not intense, nothing we're going to build up, but things we're going to do to help clean out the toxins out of our muscles and allow the building nutrients to get back in there. And of course, proper nutrition goes with rest and recovery. Okay, so long term, it addresses those latent issues, the things that are the really intense things where it's not it's the day off or the 2 days off or even a week off, and it can extend if there is an injury where we need to actually do injury recovery. Okay, so it's time. The time allows athletes to go from one big training block to another with adequate time for muscle healing and recovery. May last weeks to a month, providing there is no realized injury. If you don't have an injury, it's not going to last as long. If you do have an injury that you've realized, it is going to be a little longer. If you do have one, I would consult with your physician and have him oversee that. He'll probably send you to physical therapy, and that therapist can help you address a training program that will help you recover. Okay? Allows for exercise, but not the high-intensity strength and conditioning, mid-range to low-range, easy stuff. When you go to the gym, cut your weight in half and then shave another half off of it, and just do a few more reps than you would normally do. Again, we're talking things to do to help the muscles clear out and as they're rebuilding and repairing. Okay, now we're going to rest days. Now, rest is a little different, but it's very similar. Rest gives you the time where you're actually kind of away from things. You're not doing the things. You may still be active doing recovery work, but you're resting. But we're talking days off at a time where we're not doing the training. We're not in the sport. We're not doing that stuff. And we'll take a day off every 7 to 10 days on average. Again, more for older people, less for younger people, more if you have an injury, less if you don't. Okay? Those rest days are really important. They allow you to reach that higher level and avoid burnout, and we'll discuss burnout in a minute. Older adults need more rest than younger ones, obviously. Activities to do on rest days. Walking the dog, reading a book, playing in the pool, not knocking out sets. Going to the movies, having fun with the family, spending adult time with your significant other. Meditation, all these things are really good. And the meditation goes right along with mental rest. We'll discuss that again. Resting season, on the other hand, now we're talking short-term to long-term again. Resting season is that time off in between seasons where you need time away from the sport, a significant time away from the sport, and we're talking maybe taking a couple weeks to a couple months off. And this allows time for rejuvenation. What does it address and how does it revitalize you? It gives you that time to think about things, to process where your goals and objectives are for the upcoming season. It allows you to get your mind off the sport, and it gives you time with your family, friends, at work, where you're not constantly focused on this sport, because this sport does take up a lot of real estate in our mind. Okay? Mental rest, now we're back to that. Necessary to clear our head to avoid burnout. And I've had burnout before. I've had several friends that have burned out before. And it's really easy to drop into that mode where our mind is so fried from the constant training, the constant racing, trying to knock out a place on the podium or at least build our points if you're working on points for the season. It allows you to strategize and plan your upcoming season. Now, we're thinking about it, but we're like, okay, how's our approach going to be for the upcoming season? We take this time to, and this is where you assess your recovery and your resting process in between those. Where did you overtrain? How are you going to avoid doing that in the future so that you do have better results for your training session? Refocuses your energy on your end strengths. Okay, again, planning and building for the future. Not so much being mindful for the current, but for the future. Get your mind off the competition and back on life. And I'm going to do another video that talks about more about the mindful time away from the sport. And if you've seen one of my other videos on mindfulness, your mind is a really important part of this sport because it's a thinking sport. You got to strategize on how you're going to do this. There are a ton of moving parts, so you have to know what you're doing. But if you get your mind off the sport, then you come back to it. You've cleared your mind. Now you look at it with fresh eyes and you plan for the future. We discuss physical recovery, and that only happens with rest. Recovery, again, and rest hand in hand. Okay, the fourth discipline, sleep. And we all like to sleep, but some of us sleep more than others. Some of us need to, and this is very individualized. Some of us need 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, and some of us need 4 or 5 or 6 hours. And this is very individualized because it really is determined by your ability to sleep, your ability to get into the 4 stages of sleep. Not everybody can sleep as well as other people. I know people can drop off like that, but they don't sleep well. They don't sleep deeply, where other people sleep very deeply and they need much less sleep. And so we want to recognize where we land in between that spectrum, because most of us aren't on one end or the other end, but somewhere in the middle. Okay, younger athlete and growing athlete will need much more sleep than an older one. Older people don't need as much. Their body's not growing. We're not producing a lot of tissue. We do need the sleep for recovery, but we don't need it for continued mental and body growth as a younger athlete would that's still in the development stages as they're growing up to become an adult. You need to tailor your sleep for your particular needs. Again, we discussed that just a minute ago. It's individualized, very, very personal to you. Your significant others might say, how does that person function on that little sleep? Or it's like, how can you sleep that much and still function? Most of us are somewhere in between, but we're all different. The best healing and recovery happens during our sleeping sessions. When we sleep, our bodies go into that state where they can maximize and optimize that recovery potential. It helps with focus and mental acuity. This is where your mindfulness, where you can get to clear your head, and aids in good decision making. I think we all know that when we're tired, we really make poor decisions, and you can tell that on the freeway with drivers that are fatigued, or maybe you've been driving when you're tired. You don't make as quick and as good of decisions as you do if you're fully rested. Okay, the benefits of improved rest and recovery. A more balanced approach to training and competition. A lot of that's because our mind's clear, our body's rested, our body's healed. We can approach it more balanced. We've planned out our workout sessions and our recovery sessions. A longer, safer, competitive career. More rest and recovery ensures that you'll probably, I'm not going to say necessarily, but probably not get as injured as often or as much. So that will, the less injured you are, the longer and better your competitive career is going to be in this sport. Lower prevalence of injuries. Again, rest, recovery during injuries. It's the way you heal. And if you keep pushing when you're hurt, you're not going to heal. Better attitude, outlook during training sessions and competitions. Your mind is going to be better. You're going to be in a happier, better place than you would be otherwise. It creates an environment where interpersonal relationships thrive. As an athlete, a triathlete, a marathoner, a cyclist, a swimmer, rest and recovery is going to help those interpersonal relationships because we're not as fatigued, we're much more balanced, we're more circumspect, and we're more capable of achieving our goals in our sport. So, and that's what we're here for. That's, as a coach, I'm here to help facilitate your career goals in this sport. And by doing that and knowing these principles, I improve my career advancements in the sport, and it creates a good environment where my friends, family, colleagues all are better off, that I'm doing my best, and so they can they're not concerned or worried about me, therefore they're able to do better themselves, and we have a much better time competing and training together. Okay, well, hopefully that was beneficial. I try to bring these videos to you. Leave a comment if you have anything to add or questions. More commentary, the better. I read all my comments, and I don't think I've had any negative ones. So apparently I'm doing something right, and I'm hoping that I'm helping you achieve your goals and objectives in this sport. And we will see you next time around. And maybe it's going to be from Anaheim, but I'm up here taking care of my son's dogs in his house while he's gone. And I've got nothing but time to do this with. So you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you on the next time around. Thanks, bye.